you talk to any strangers?
Only to the lifeguards and the security guard. He's creepy. He's right there.
I was keeping a good eye on you guys today. Came out here today to do a situational awareness analysis on the kids. Okay, I got 2 little girls all by themselves right here. I'll keep an eye on them. So I got dressed up in a disguise, had Kelly running operations for me.
It's Daddy! Dad! You sound like a security guard.
They didn't even recognize their own dad. And, you know, what does that mean for when a stranger approaches them?
I kept coming up to you guys over and over.
That's not nice. It taught me that we have to be really careful about who we talk to. And if they ask you questions like, who are your parents, then you shouldn't trust them.
And then I moved you away from your family.
The kids are even more vulnerable than I thought. They allowed themselves to be separated. They told a strange man that they didn't know where their parents were. I'm still not comfortable with the idea of the kidnapping, but I wonder now. My kids are not prepared, and we've got to do something.
Now, this kidnapping thing. I know what you said about it, but I think that initial shock will teach them a big lesson.
I feel like if they can see Pat, it won't be nearly as frightening. If they know their uncle's there, I think it'll be a little bit less traumatic for them. I'm still really worried about it. But I know what you're saying about the water park. It really made me nervous because they were like running all over the place and crazy, and I couldn't keep my eyes on all of them at the same time. It's why I hate going to those things.
I'm not going to hurt the kids. I'm not going to let them be traumatized.
I just need to make sure that Kelly will know exactly what to do.
Honestly, I'll tell Kelly, if it goes bad, if they're not going to calm down or something, we'll stop. Kelly will say, look, it's me, it's Kelly, it's fine, your dad's right over there.
Okay. Because we've been doing these drills lately, I gave the kidnapping idea some more thought. And I actually have mixed feelings about that because I want them to be more aware, but I don't want them to be afraid and paranoid all the time. So Gibson gave me a list of that stuff that I asked her for. She also wrote us a letter.
A letter?
Dear Mom and Dad, one thing I think you don't understand, I'm 10. I'm not a baby anymore. And I can take care of myself. I'm older now, and I would like more responsibility from you guys. That's kind of sweet.
She's 10.
I know.
What does she mean by more responsibility?
She's listed it out for us. I would like my own phone. This is number 1. I will be willing to give you...
Wait, what?
Her own cell phone. She wants her own cell phone.
We've already told her she's
Several
not
of
old
her
enough.
friends have cell phones.
Well, that's their parents' problem.
Cell phones can be very dangerous. If they're not monitored carefully, you're opening up a security hole for your kids by allowing them to have these cell phones.
I would like my own phone. I would be willing to give you some of my birthday money to buy it.
Or, what, $10?
I hear all the time about sexting and inappropriate videos going back and forth and that kind of thing. So I really have some concerns about the cell phone. Okay, number 2. I want you to trust me. I want you to trust me with the kids and trust my actions. I hope you consider some of these things. I love you both, but sometimes I want you to hear me out. It all comes down to this. I want to be a young woman. Love, Gib.
Well, I kind of feel like she already got kidnapped and sent us the demands. I don't want her having a phone. A 10-year-old doesn't need a phone, I don't think. You know what she said to me? The last time I took her shooting, she was begging me for a gun. What if we got her a gun? I know we just talked about all this other stuff, but...
Yet another gun.
How are we...
It would make her feel like we trust her.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know. After we kidnap her, that could be like her reward.
We agree that a cell phone seems to bring more problems with it than it solves. Phil and I are pretty much on the same page in that Gibson's really responsible, so maybe we should give her a gun. So I wasn't sure that the kidnapping was the best way to accomplish what Phil was trying to accomplish, but I decided we could go with it, provided that we did it under certain conditions.
I'll be there in about 15 minutes, and we'll head over to Rock Canyon Park.
Phil and Kelly spent a long time planning the kidnapping, figuring out what supplies they needed to do, into scouting the area.
That trail's big enough we could snatch 2 kids and run off, nobody know. It'll be 5-10 minutes before somebody realizes they're missing.
I'm usually the one who's right, and I don't like to be wrong. It's hard for me to say that Phil's right about something, especially something that I felt strongly about.
On the day we were going to do the kidnapping drill, Kelly, Pat, and I met at the park where we were going to do it, and we walked through exactly what we were going to do. Went step by step how it was going to happen.
As long as my brother Pat was in the truck, Adria agreed to let us kidnap them.
You're going to be comforting whoever's in here. So just be saying, it's okay, we're just doing a drill, don't worry about it. You got to do what you've been taught to do your best to get out. When I do these drills, I don't ever want to put my kids at risk. I know Kelly, I know he's an expert at this, and there is no way he would ever put my kids in harm's way. This will be a safe drill. Let's get going, Pat, but let's head down there, and then we'll go down and meet up with the family. I'll be right back.
My mom told us that we were going to go on a family picnic. My dad comes out of nowhere with Uncle Pat, and he has these huge ice things.
After Kelly got in position, we went over to where they were having the picnic, and I brought some ice blocks over to keep them occupied so that they wouldn't be wandering around seeing what was going on. Just balance on it, let it take you.
While they're doing this, why don't you two come play hide and seek with me up there?
Then Pat tells us that he wants to play hide and seek.
Let Nia go once, and then send Gib. Then send Gib. You have to come find me. Don't let me just sit there and hide forever.
As soon as I got a text from Kelly and the Pat was secured in the back of the truck, I sent Nia out.
I fought all of my maternal instincts in allowing my girls to be kidnapped. That was really hard for me. Okay, are you supposed to go find him? Is he playing hide and seek?
Yes.
What Adria is going to learn from this is when she looks around and realizes her kids are missing,
She's going to wake up a little bit.
if my kids were to be kidnapped, that would literally be the end of the world as I know it. I'm going to need to do everything I can to prevent this kind of a situation. And that means running the kids through a drill.
This was a challenge to see what you would do if you were kidnapped.
Gibson and Nia know how to pick handcuffs. They know some of the basics of escaping custody. They've never been through a drill.
You okay?
Yes. Can I pick on you?
Do you ever pick on you?
No.
She gets handcuffed down and she goes, I don't have my picks.
I had a pick on me.
Where?
In this pocket over here.
It's a little disappointing because Nia knows to carry a pick all the time. She does all this training and then she didn't have a pick. I expected that she would be fully prepared and she just wasn't.
This is frustrating me.
I was really worried about Nia because she hadn't come back in nearly half an hour. And so I tell my parents that I'm going to go find her.
Having Pat there made it too easy for Nia, so we decided to take Pat and Nia out of the truck so that when we got Gibson in there, she was all by herself and would have to figure out how to deal with it all on her own.
I just think for a minute, okay, Gibson, this is a drill to see how you would react if you were kidnapped. Call 911! Call 911! I still tried to call out for help, and I probably wasn't screaming loud enough. Someone's taking me away! And I got really pressured and stressed. No! And then the kidnapper throws me in a truck, and I'm like, okay, if you get unhandcuffed, which I know you're going to, Gibson, since you have a key under your shirt, what are you going to do? I think to myself and I say, okay, Gibson, you're going to run. You're going to run as fast as you've ever ran before.